Here's another DIY backdrop made from materials purchased from Home Depot. I came across this subway tile backsplash. It was only $3 a square foot, so I picked up 4 of them. I needed something to lay the tile on, and hardboard would do the trick. HDF, which is high density fiberboard. You can find this in the lumber section of Home Depot by the subflooring. I got a 2 foot by 2 foot piece, and guess how much it cost? $2.22. Altogether, I only spent about $14 on the main components. So I needed to attach the back of the tile onto the hardboard somehow. The first thing I used was some adhesive caulking. If you watched my wood backdrop video, then you know that I had this left over from my bathroom vanity install. I just squeezed it out like toothpaste along each row. After that, I carefully flipped it over, lined it up as best I could along the edge of the hardboard, and applied pressure. On to the next sheet. I have so much Mod Podge at home, so why not try it out? This I was a little less sure about. It's a great glue, but I've never used it on material so heavy. But as I tried it, at first I applied just a bit of the glue onto the back of the tile with a popsicle stick, but I quickly got impatient, so I dumped the glue out and spread it like icing on a cake. That probably wasn't the best idea. If you've ever worked with Mod Podge, you know it's super runny. After I flipped over the tile and applied pressure like I did the last sheet, some of the glue got out to the front of the tile. But since it was still pretty fresh, I was able to wipe it off with a damp towel. The remaining tile sheets were both bonded using caulking, but with a different type from the first one. That one was adhesive, this one here is a sealant. This is another leftover from my bathroom reno project. It requires a caulking gun. This one here has been through the ringer. It's actually my dad's and I should probably return it to him. Anyway, because this type of caulking doesn't have a cap, I had to cut the nozzle part pretty low to get beyond the dried up parts. That's why it's coming out so thick. Like the Mod Podge, I spread it out like icing. Because of its consistency, it doesn't bleed through the mesh and get on the front of the tiles. This is what it looked like. I let it dry overnight, and the next day it was on to round 2. You know I love me some drywall mud. I'd love to use it on walls, for artwork, and now on pseudo backsplashes. My thinking was that I could use this as a makeshift grout. I've never grouted before, but I figured I've seen enough home improvement shows to get the gist of how it's done. I dumped some of the joint compound on the tile, and with a popsicle stick, I drove it into the empty spaces, coming at all angles. I made sure every crack was covered. After that was done, I let it sit for about 20 minutes to allow it time to dry, but not completely. At that point, I got a damp towel and wiped up the excess. Then with a dry towel, I wiped it again. Of course, the camera decided to go blurry on me, but you get the idea. The next day, I noticed there were some areas that weren't as filled in as I wanted them to be, so I repeated the process for a second time. All done. This is what it looks like. I use this backdrop for kitchen and bathroom shots. It's kind of neat, gives some variety. So while I definitely would not recommend this technique for a real tile backsplash application, it's great for a fake one. Thanks for watching I See Melanie.